911, what's the emergency?
There's been a massive landslide on Highway 530.
There is a house on 530 and a big slide, and it is covering the road.
It sounded like an earthquake was happening, and there's hundreds of trees everywhere.
There's like a mudslide and everything's gone. The houses are gone. There's people yelling for help. Oh my gosh.
My neighbor's house and their neighbor's house has been completely taken out. It's collapsed on several of them, and they're trapped.
We have people that are yelling for our help, and we are going to take extreme risks to try to get them out of there tonight.
Emergency managers in Snohomish County still trying to reach people trapped by that massive landslide. The wall of mud and debris killed 3 people and injured at least 8 others. And people who live along the North Fork of the Stillaguamish River are being told to evacuate. The slide covers Highway 530 near Oso and has clogged up the river. And there are concerns now about what happens next. We have team coverage tonight. We will start with King 5's Heather Graff live at the Arlington.
That's Palo Falco, moments after a massive wall of mud and debris came crashing down onto State Route 530 and right in front of his car.
I was coming down the hill, and we just saw that thing coming. Like, the best thing to describe is the darkness.
Part of this tightly knit community has been lost.
Rescue crews and volunteers work round the clock searching the muddy debris field for victims.
If you stop long enough, you'll start to lose it.
Coming together in the hopes of a miracle.
Volunteer firefighters like Jeff McClellan have been working around the clock, along with a crew of others, trudging through mud, debris, and wreckage to fulfill a grim task.
Some of these are our friends. Some are, family of some of our people that serve for us. And, close firefighter friend of ours lost his wife and his granddaughter. That's tough.
She's just a wonderful person, caring, giving, loving.
Christina Jeffords worked as the office manager here for more than 20 years. She was babysitting her 4-month-old granddaughter, Sanoa, on Saturday morning when the landslide came down on their Steelhead Drive home. The search for Chris, as those in Dr. Peterson's office often called her, came to an end sometime Sunday.
When you're in this business, you know that from time to time there will be occasions where authorities come by and ask for records.
Their fears confirmed.
To identify somebody, but you don't think it's going to be one of your own.
According to the family, she will be buried with her grandmother, Christina Jeffords, who was found in debris not far away. Christina was babysitting her granddaughter when the slide happened. Sanoa Hustis, Christina Jeffords, and Steve Neal are some of the people featured in a special section on King5.com dedicated to the victims of the slide. You can go there and read their personal stories. Just look for the link on King5.com. The before picture on the left shows the Stillaguamish River and Highway 530. After the slide, the massive amount of mud and debris, 1.5 miles wide, cuts off the river.
And here's a demonstration of exactly what happened. You have a foundation layer of either bedrock or very compressed clay. On top of that, this loose mix of sand and glacial rock. Add water like we had this past month, and it lubricates it, and it slides.
And he says the people in his neighborhood were never warned that a slide could cross the Stillaguamish River in his backyard and hit homes.
I have no record of or recollection of any conversation, any letter, any presentation, zero, zip, nada.
After this 2006 landslide near the neighborhood, Snohomish County did take steps to warn residents. The King 5 investigators found the county drafted this notice in 2007. The Hazard Area Disclosure Notice warned that the area is at risk of potentially life-threatening destructive mud, water, and debris flows. But records show the notice was only issued once to one homeowner on Steelhead Drive.
And write gas cards on the check. I want to show you something. These are the donations that came in one day. The total, $56,890.
Let me give you a $100 gas card. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Here's a $100 gift card for food.
Oh, wow.
help on top of that, okay?
Please. I don't know how to say, I don't know how to say thank you to all the help that we've had in this community.
We needed to do something.
And you're going through it too.
Yeah. Well, I'm an EMT, first responder. So, you know, knowing that there's a firefighter that his family's missing, sorry. Okay. Knowing that we had to do something.
There were tears.
Thank you.
Now I want your t-shirt. But this caring seemed to make everyone feel better.
Just visit king5.com for more details. So far, your generosity has raised more than $553,000 for Oso.
Your parents aren't going to be running the prom? Because I am.
A plan was hatched. Bring Darrington the prom of a lifetime, and the timeless Darrington gym would be transformed from hardwood to Hollywood.
Big night. Pretty nice deal for the kids.
Oh, yeah! When you first walked in, what went through your mind?
Like, this isn't our gym. This isn't it. I don't know where I am.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Well, believe it. And the kids owned it.
What is emergency?
My pager went off for what was reported as a roof of a barn and flooding in the road on State Route 530.
You know his face and you know his name because Travis Hotz had the unenviable task.
Today's operation is going to involve aircraft.
Of telling his community what no one wanted to hear.
We didn't see or hear any signs of life out there today.
He was the initial incident commander and the voice of this tragedy.
Because the mud was so thick.
Who updated the media and the public every single day as the death toll climbed to 43 and the rescues turned to recoveries.
I would have rather been out there digging every single day than been a spokesperson, but when you agree to put a gold badge on and wear a white shirt in this business as a fire chief, you agree to let the firefighters and the company officers go out and handle those tasks.
I picked up a book, and I could see it was a kid's book. And I opened the book, and it said, 3 Orphan Kitties was the title. And underneath it said, the world is a beautiful place. And I just burst into tears.
You have to be out here with them no matter what. You got to get out here and find them. I don't like knowing that they're up there still missing.
I text them every hour. I call and just tell them we're looking for you.
We can't lose hope. That's not what we're here for. We're here to find those people.
If we have looked in your eyes, if you have walked past us, if you have smiled at us, if you have held our hand, if you've given us a hug, if you have somehow thought about us.
Well, we appreciate people like you.
We thank you.
We're breaking in because we have a developing situation at Marysville-Pilchuck High School right now.
Police are responding to the high school, a possible shooting. Let's get right to Jim Foreman.
Well, we know that there is a massive response to the high school. Let's switch now to Sky King, just arriving on the scene. We can tell you that there are reports that there is an active shooter involved.
There you go, more students running in a single file line, escaping from classrooms or wherever those buildings are. This is a sprawling campus, as Jim mentioned. We're talking about 2,500 kids at Marysville-Pilchuck.
Sanford Flores, you have a son in school. What was he able to tell you? And he was in the cafeteria. What was he able to tell you about what happened?
He told me that he was 40 feet away from the actual shooting and that like 6 kids were injured.
And you've been able to contact him. How's he doing?
He is scared. He is very scared. And he's still inside the school.
We are confirming one person that is deceased
and that person is believed to be the shooter.
He was quiet. He was just sitting there. Everyone was talking. All of a sudden, I see him stand up, pull something out of his pocket. And at first, I thought it was just someone making a really loud noise with like a bag, like a big loud pop, until I heard 4 more after that. And I saw 3 kids just fall from the table, like they were falling to the ground dead. I jumped under the table as fast as I could. And when it stopped, I looked back up, and I saw he was trying to reload his gun. And when that happened, I just ran in the opposite direction, and I was out of there as fast as I could.
You know,
and that's it.
I have to be honest with you. Just listening to your description, I'm just getting choked up. You sound incredibly calm, considering what you just witnessed.
The way I handle things, I guess.
We've been hearing from parents here on the street corner. They've been texting with their kids. There are still a lot of kids apparently holed up inside of the school. In groups about, 12 to 24 to 36, they've been walked out of the school across the athletic field. We've been watching these school buses pull up periodically.
He texted me when that happened. He was looking for me, paranoid, scared.
We haven't heard anything yet. Nothing. Everybody's calling and we just don't know. Thanks.
So this is a live picture at Schulte's Community Church. I'm just not going to talk for a while. Let's just look at this. As you can see, it's just, shock. It's starting to set in. Tearful students being reunited with their parents on probably what will be the worst day of their lives.
Waiting is the hardest part, they always say, but, I'm very glad that I got to hug them and see them and make sure that they were okay.
Our news staff is in the field right now. Our chief photographer, Scott Jensen, S. Jensen K5, just tweeted this picture out. This picture just takes your breath away. When you look, this is probably that field where our reporter was.
The shooter, whose name is Jalen Freiberg, a freshman at that school, that Jalen was very calm. We have some video to show you right now. This is of Jalen just 1 week ago in the homecoming court. So obviously this is homecoming time of year. All of the high schools have a big football game for it, and they elect a homecoming king and a prince and all that. And there is Jalen, the shooter, being honored at the football game. He is a football player, as in the homecoming court. And usually, those are decided by the kids. So that tells you, yes, in fact, he was popular. He was respected. He comes from a very well-respected family, member of the Tulalip tribe, and they have members of his family have been in leadership positions with the tribe, have been very well known in the fishing industry.
Let's go to King 5's Greg Copeland, who's been watching social media and the reaction from around the area and the world.
Our hearts and prayers are with everyone involved in the tragic shooting today at MPHS. The SPU community stands with you. And then we'll get another one here from Jermaine Kearse of the Seahawks, tweeted a while ago. Very simple, and a lot of people are just doing this as well, just keeping it short. Pray for Pilchuck.
Tonight, a conversation with teens and parents.
Tough times. Teens and parents. A King 5 HealthLink Town Hall.
Does that make you think that it could happen to anybody?
Yeah.
That anybody maybe could do?
It could happen anytime, from anyone, even your closest friends.
A week out, are you guys thinking of them? Are you feeling mad about what happened? Sad? Fearful? What are some of the emotions you're feeling right now, a week later? Zoe?
Okay, well, for only being in high school for not even 2 months, oh God,
it's okay.
It's really hard.
Being in high school, has it ruined high school for you, the first year?
This was a tough day for a lot of these students returning back to class, and it was made a little bit easier by this community's incredible show of support and of love.
Hoping that these kids can get some innocence back again.
The road leading to Marysville-Pilchuck High lined with nothing but love for these students. 4 moms standing side by side with their hearts in their hands.
We love you, Tomahawk!
15-year-old Jordan, a sophomore, was there that day in the cafeteria and is still processing all that she saw.
It's gotten better over the week. My friends are really helpful in being distractions, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not gone or forgotten.
They're taking this sometimes scary path after the shooting 1 hour at a time.
More love.
Some good, some not so good.
Okay, I'm not crying.
Yes, you are crying.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Sending their daughter back to school where it all happened won't be easy.
Today's a little bit different. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that we were all home at the same time with the kids and get them out the door.
Okay, here we go, Monday morning.
They say as emotional as this day might be,
I've never actually been stopped on the roundabout before. We might all be a little bit nervous about today.
they just want to get back to what you might call normal life,
Love you.
Okay.
Text me a lot.
even though so much has changed.
Trying to hold it together. Trusting again, you know.
Ted Lamb,
She's still my baby.
King 5 News.
Still my baby.
For the first time, we're hearing from the mother of Zoe Galasso, one of the 4 students killed in the Marysville-Pilchuck school shooting.
I look at it all the time. It's where I gather all my strength. It's where I get all my strength from.
For the last 2 weeks, Michelle Galasso started her day with a message.
What does that message say?
It says, happy birthday to my mom, my other half, best friend.
Her daughter Zoe sent it to her a few months ago.
I look up to you. You're the strongest person I know, and I wouldn't be who I am without you in my life.
This is the message Michelle prefers to read.
I guess this is all I have.
Considering the last message she sent Zoe.
At 11:40 on Friday, are you okay?
She never heard back.
Okay, so here's all the names. There's Shaylee. There's Andrew Freiberg.
There's Zoe Glasso.
Being around her made you want to just be happy. She had a laugh that was contagious. She was beautiful inside and out.
Zoe was Michelle's best friend.
She was
her baby.
The most giving, the most wonderful, just the most wonderful person.
It was a raging inferno.
Wildfires rip across Washington state.
You could hear the whistle of the wind.
300 square miles burned, dozens of homes destroyed.
It's devastating.
An entire town reduced to rubble. But among the ashes, people cling to what they haven't lost.
Everybody's safe, yeah.
And here is the very latest on the biggest wildfires burning in our state. The Chewacum Creek fire burning west of... Team coverage of the firefight tonight for you. King 5's Heather Graff is live in Winthrop with a family trying to save their heirlooms.
And King 5's Ted Land is in Malott, where at least one home on the hillside just outside of town has been destroyed. Take a look at this new video. The fire is raging and is very close to homes as the highest evacuation notice remains in place. Firefighters are setting back fires.
I want to step out of the way so we can show you what we are seeing right now here in Winthrop. You can see the flames just popping up all along that ridge there in the distance, and that is Saturday afternoon in the town of Twisp.
Well, yeah, it's just all over. It's just...
The DC-10 air tankers battling this fire, put on a performance of their own.
I mean, they're really fast too. I mean, I heard him call for it, and 10 minutes later he was here.
I think the priority would be to get the line in first.
Yeah, affirmative. We can work that out together.
This is a fist fight with Mother Nature.
Come in and help reinforce that.
And crews are using more than just their hands.
All resources, how do you copy?
To win the battle.
What we would refer to as a dirty burn.
I wish it wasn't so cloudy and smoky. It's the most beautiful view in the world. And it's gone.
It's tough asking someone what their needs are when they've lost everything.
We're not going to build here again. We'll build down in the flat. So, you know.
His neighbors reported criminals rummaging through their destroyed homes. Viralman wrote a note to thieves that looks like this.
Attention, looters and thieves. Welcome to Alpha Lake. You will not get what you want, but you will get what you deserve. Consider this fair warning.
And stay out of Okanagan County. If you come here bent on evil, there'll be a healthy dose of justice for you.
After ranch hand Jake O'Reilly expressed those thoughts early this afternoon, he then reached into his pocket, pulled out a .44 mag, and reiterated his point.
Don't come to Okanagan County with criminal intent.
I just feel empty.
The fire scorched 250,000 acres, 300 homes, people who lost everything. We've learned the state has cut only one check to one landowner.
This is the invoice for a nearly $2 million payment by the state of Washington that we got through a public records request. It's money that was paid to Gebers Farms 2 months after the fire. The family-owned, century-old Gebers fruit orchard is one of the largest in the world. By all accounts, Gebers fought valiantly to keep the fire off their property. But unlike any other landowner, the state has paid Gebers back, including $209,000 to Gebers orchard employees who fought the fire, more than $680,000 for heavy equipment, and $500,000 for 4 helicopters that Gebers leased.
I would have made payments for the rest of my life just to have a couple dumps of water on our house to save it. We could have saved it, but when it got here, it was way too big for us.
By protecting its 8,000 acres, Gebers also shielded the town of Brewster right below the orchards. And DNR says the so-called fire control payment was for Gebers' efforts on behalf of the community.
They were attempting to protect not only their property, but other property as well.
This satellite image from the days after the fire shows the circular red scar of burned vegetation. The green hole in the middle is mostly Gebers' property. Neighboring land didn't fare so well. We found invoices showing the state was also billed for fire bonuses of up to $2,000 for some Gebers workers and several $100s in purchases at this Brewster Quickie Mart. Managers at Gebers Farms did not respond to our repeated requests for an interview.
So everybody should be on equal ground, no matter how big or small they are.
This couple says what really stings is that Gebers was paid by DNR, whose crews they found staging nearby the day of the fire.
5 engine crews sitting there, and we begged them.
I begged them. I got out and I begged them.
You know, my recollection, I don't remember begging for anything else in my whole life. And they told us no.
We start with breaking news. Violent protests raging tonight in Ferguson, Missouri, and protests occurred in Seattle 2 hours after that grand jury decision.
We have team coverage tonight.
Like islanders in a hurricane, businesses in Ferguson tried to hold back the storm.
We are moments away from an announcement of the grand jury.
I just hope that everybody stay calm tonight and keep the peace in the street.
Protesters are gathering.
But when the decision was announced,
no probable cause exists.
The fury swelled.
Man, this. I'm angry. I'm angry. It's about to go down, man.
Disperse immediately. Both sides will blame the other for what happened after that.
They threw tear gas at the entire crowd.
The gas did its job.
Blow your nose. That'll get it out of your nose.
But smoke was followed.
That's what's burning. 2 police cars.
By fires.
It's a wild night. It's about Mike Brown. It's not about me.
We have some video of Macklemore, who was joining the protesters, chanting and walking onto I-5.
And there he is. That was part of the time when the I-5 was shut down about 45 minutes ago. Traffic was brought to a complete halt, and eventually the police were able to get the protesters off the freeway, chase them off, and traffic has since been moving along on I-5 just fine. This is earlier at the ramp near Cherry where some flashbangs went off.
Exactly. The flashbangs in an attempt to get people to move off and away from the I-5 and the I-5 on-ramp.
They targeted the bigger shopping centers downtown, like the Pacific Place Mall. Try as they might, security guards could not keep the doors closed nor the protesters out. Chanting what has become the mantra of the Ferguson decision. Protesters marched in past the holiday decorations and the Black Friday shoppers, taking over the escalators and eventually the 4th floor of the mall, yelling down to the courtyard for all to hear.
Because the cop wasn't even indicted for killing the kid. He's not even getting a trial. So there's no balance to the system.
They've taken my life and screwed it up. How much they've shortened it, I don't know.
Hanford's dirty secrets take a toll on its workers.
It really upsets a person to know that they could have done more to protect you.
Dozens have gotten sick after exposure to toxic vapors. Now, many are facing deadly or chronic diseases.
I am no longer the person I used to be.
They get rid of you. You're no good anymore. We've used you to the extent we can.
And at Hanford,
isolation, secrecy, lack of accountability.
Nobody's watching.
People are still being affected. Obviously, they're not doing enough to prevent it.
You're watching the human toll of Hanford's dirty secrets.
After 6 Hanford workers rolled into the ER last March, sick after inhaling unknown vapors, and 20 more were off to a doctor, their employer sent out public statements. The government contractor, Washington River Protection Solutions, or WRPS, said employees reported throat and nasal irritation and headaches, but good news, every worker had been checked out and released to return to work. The Hanford On-Site Medical Center, run by another government contractor, deemed every single patient A-OK to get back on the job.
That is misleading. We found the situation is far more serious than the feds and its contractors are letting on. All of the employees were not and still are not back to work. And many have symptoms far worse than an irritation.
I felt kind of dizzy, like almost, like I couldn't walk.
It's just like I can't get a good deep breath.
Well, the WRPS president, Dave Olson, has assured the workers, your safety is my primary concern as we cope with these events. Not everyone is buying it.
The lack of concern is discouraging to me.
Once out of the hospital, Becky Holland visited that clinic run by the company HPMC. After listing off her symptoms, nosebleeds, intense headaches, sweats, and shaking, what did the HPMC provider do? Handed over a pain reliever, a cough drop, and a clearance to return to work.
25-year-old Red is free to meet us in this park, free to wander, even though the eyes of the law believe they're on him at all times.
It just felt like a joke.
A joke, he says, that was looped around his ankle until he decided to snap it off.
Actually, lo and behold, all it took was a simple push and the device broke.
Red is not a hardcore criminal, but the state of Washington uses the same type of GPS tracking to keep tabs on its most dangerous and unpredictable ex-cons, about 200 at any given time.
Where are you trying to go?
Samuel McDonough cut off his GPS bracelet and made the most memorable heist of 2013. His theft of the Victoria Clipper because he wanted to sail to Canada played almost like a comedy, but there are no laughs in McDonough's backstory.
He's gotten worse in his behavior, so that frightens me.
His mother says while on GPS monitoring, he was using meth and carrying a knife he claimed for self-defense.
He sleeps here on the floor, and he had a machete he put under his pillow, so I was getting concerned.
Department of Corrections records show McDonough often let his GPS battery die, and he cut off 4 GPS bracelets during 6 months on the program. Often a few days would pass before DOC realized McDonough was untethered. A high-level corrections official complained, somehow we need to ensure we know about the lost or removed GPS units in an email written after the Clipper theft.
We're following up on that. I'm not sure where we're at. I know that's a continuing investigation.
To be where I am today,
It's a testament to all the hard work. It's a testament to my teammates.
It's media day for the Super Bowl. Players and coaches talking openly to journalists from around the world.
My fans love me regardless. They love the Seahawks.
Super Bowl Boulevard between 34th and 47th. Once again tonight, we have several crews there covering all the action.
Let's begin with Drew Mickelson for more from Super Bowl Boulevard.
And it was here, at the 2011 NFL Draft, here comes when this town did its best
intercepted by Richard Sherman
to crush the spirit of Richard Sherman.
Touchdown, Stanford! Richard Sherman!
Tough day.
Kevin Sherman.
Tough 2 days.
Richard's father.
Frustrating tough 2 days.
Sherman wasn't invited to the event. He was the 154th pick.
They are leaving.
A fifth rounder.
The Coliseum in droves.
A singular and stinging disappointment.
He carries a lot of different chips with him, and they all just sit up on top of his shoulder and push him and drives him and drives him and drives him.
Sherman's chips are not carried in anger, but they've been created over a lifetime.
The chip came from when he was about 3.5 years old.
Beverly Sherman says her son was denied a spot on the T-ball team.
When the lady in the pink hat, Miss Dorothy Dawson, told him that he was not old enough to play, that's where the chip began. My son was livid. Livid.
I ventured into the belly of the beast mode.
Omaha! Omaha!
Broncos orange, a little love. Thank you, my brothers. A little love for the Broncos.
What do you mean now?
People of Seattle, I implore you, repent and root for the Broncos.
Super Bowl champs for the first time, and the 12th man goes nuts as the Seattle Seahawks earn the Lombardi Trophy. Can you believe it?
That's
it's great.
I can barely hear you, but it is absolutely incredible down here.
It's a feeling that I can't really describe in words.
What happens when a dream comes true?
Seattle's gonna go crazy when we get back. I know they're partying right now.
Oh no, Broncos!
When an entire city feels the same thing. At the same time. For the first time.
Everyone who cares so much. It's so great.
People want to be around other people. And find their identity together.
Party in the streets for the Seahawks. Celebrate.
Everything, man. We freaking burn a couch and we celebrate.
This is what happens when a dream comes true on Greek Row.
There were fireworks going off. People were screaming. It was just madness.
Because the Hawks won the Super Bowl, baby. Why else?
Back in Pioneer Square, the celebration also took a turn.
Go off like it's like a bomb or something.
As Super Bowl night became the morning after.
And all of a sudden, they'll just blow up.
Move back! Move back!
One of the most remarkable days in anyone's life in Seattle.
Hey, buddy.
This is the moment of a lifetime.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's no mediocre fans here.
Ready? See! 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 Let's go get Pete. Pete! Pete!
I can't even describe the all-encompassing support and love and spirit of everybody. It's amazing. It's an amazing day.
Hey, we here. Oh, man, the mic broke, but we here, baby. LOB win the building.
I'm a kid in candy store, man.
It's definitely gotten worse over the last month. It's noticeably worse.
Okay, ready?
And so husband and wife are here not just to eat, but to make audio recording of the items Virgil most often orders off the menu at Duke's.
Calamari.
Speaking as clearly as he possibly can.
Crab pig.
It's a process called voice banking.
What have you done so far?
That they learned at Virginia Mason Medical Center.
Let's try another one.
Something speech pathologist Roberta Kelly has been encouraging Virgil to do ever since doctors diagnosed him.
They ran a bunch of tests and they said, we think you got ALS.
ALS.
No.
Often referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Tough.
Yeah.
And at the top of the list.
Okay.
I love you.
3 words Virgil wants his wife to hear.
Great.
Forever.
I love you.
Yeah. Sounds good.
From Heather Wolf's vantage point, she could see the teenager perched high above.
By cutting down these 800+ trees to build a mall where the money will all be funneled away from our own community.
There's a girl in the street.
We're done with mall sprawl.
Having a great time in this tree, it's also tiring and exhausting.
It's taken 10 years
We're lucky he's still here.
to get here.
It was very touch and go. Yeah, we're lucky he's here.
Right on. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, he was about this size when he learned. When he was 4, he skied with no poles, so he come really fast.
Kenny's got good neck movement, so he's really capable of steering the ski.
See him sitting down? There he is.
To be back up on the hill. It's like I was right back there 10 years ago.
Wow, look at that. Look at Uncle. Woohoo!
Look at him now.
I can see it. Yeah, he's skiing. Look at that, for real.
It was really smooth. It was, the snow feels good. Yeah, just like I remembered it.
Very energetic, lots of singing.
Happy Valentine's Day to you. Sing it.
A holiday dedicated to love.
How you doing?
That, truth be told, is Juan's
Happy Valentine's Day.
second favorite special occasion.
It's 200 feet tall.
That happens to fall on February the 14th.
It's Ferris wheel day today, yeah.
Ferris wheel day, because it marks the moment when the ride's inventor was born.
The original guy, you know?
More than 150 years ago.
Are you guys deeply in love?
I've been with you for 4 years, and I know that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?
You're so cute, yes.
And so it seems Valentine's Day and Ferris wheel day are the perfect match.
You're so cute. Here.
Sunset. That usually brings people out.
Chris Daniels in Sochi tonight with the rest of the story. Chris.
Gene Selski is now a 2-time Olympian who originally did not have Sochi in mind until he found some musical inspiration. In the world of short track speed skating, J.R. Selski was on the top. He won 2 bronze medals in Vancouver. The hours of work and hours of ice time took a toll.
I just wasn't able to handle it. You know, once the Olympics were over, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? You know, I just didn't want anything to do with skating.
Selski says he turned to music to provide inspiration through it all. And a then little-known artist just picking up steam.
I was on my Twitter account just blasting, you know, music and what I was into, and I was saying, you know, listen to this, listen to this, listen to Macklemore, listen to the Blue Scholars, and
10,000.
The Twitter affection was the beginning of a friendship few have seen. Selski took to the road with Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, producing a documentary which debuted last year at SIFF. And the two made an appearance together at Children's Hospital in Seattle in 2010. This never-before-seen footage of the skater and the star trying to deliver a message.
Ebola. We all have questions and concerns. How safe for hospitals, airports, and schools? At King 5, we promise you facts, not fear. Join the conversation for the truth about Ebola.
All day today.
One of the questions that's come up this afternoon that seems to be trending is the travel ban in Africa. So I'm going to talk to Dr. Ann Kimball, who's an infectious disease specialist and a professor emerita from the University of Washington. Dr. Kimball, if I can interrupt your web work here, what do we mean when we talk about a travel ban? Are we talking...
We got hundreds of questions from you on Facebook. We're looking them up here this morning, and we want to just turn to you right off the bat with a couple of these. One, Rachel Harris on Facebook asks, how long and in what conditions can the virus live outside the body? That's a very good question.
Yeah, it is. And the answer is we don't really know.
14 years ago, King 5 launched a campaign that is now the largest one-day food drive in the state of Washington.
All right, well, it sounds like things are rocking up in Kenmore this morning. We need it to be rocking here at the U.S. Phone Bank, and we want to take your calls for donations. So please, all the phones are ringing now. Call 8.
Not only have we sold over 114,000 hunger bags inside our stores, we also have a $90,000 check to present to Northwest Harvest.
Oh my God.
A news helicopter crashes just feet from the Space Needle, igniting a giant fireball. Pilot Gary Fitzner and photojournalist Bill Strothman are killed. A third person seriously hurt.
This is fuel! Stay away from the fuel! Get back!
Witnesses from a nearby construction site helped to contain the flaming jet fuel flowing from the crash as firefighters battle the flames. Tonight, the FAA and the NTSB are on scene, beginning their investigations. We have all the angles covered tonight.
We'll take a closer look at the lives of the two men who died and a reaction from City Hall. But we begin with King 5's Chris Daniels with more on what happened. Chris.
Good evening tonight from outside Fisher Plaza, where just a few minutes ago we saw the wreckage from this TV news helicopter get carted out of here by salvage crews. They also took 3 different vehicles, a truck and 2 cars that were involved in this accident earlier this morning. We can tell you, frankly, this is a story that hits close to home for many of us in the news business. The Como chopper crew had just finished chasing a story and was on to its next assignment when that helicopter sputtered and fell to the ground.
Oh my God, this helicopter just crashed right in front of us. Oh, he's gone. Oh my God.
That voice you hear is Bo Bain.
This is fuel! Stay away from the fuel! Get back!
The panic in his voice, a measurement of what the construction worker had just witnessed.
When he went to take back off, the sound of the helicopter changed kind of drastically, and I looked, and the helicopter was almost immediately pitched sideways and off balance, and he kind of just nose dove over the trees and clipped the top of the trees and crashed just on the other side of the street there.
The Como News helicopter had just taken off from Fisher Plaza, and employees say it made an immediate descent right into oncoming traffic.
We heard the chopper rotors. We heard the noise of a problem, and then we heard the explosion.
Bear with us, okay?
The chopper damaged a truck and 2 cars, hurt 3 victims on the ground.
A man crawled out from under the door of the car on his hands and knees, came out, and he was still on fire. And one of my colleagues rushed over there and brought him to the ground amidst all the debris that was in the street, and started patting out the fire.
Oh, my God.
That man is now being treated by doctors at Harborview after an accident.
Get away from the vehicles!
That made an otherwise routine morning.
Oh, my God.
Memorable. Bo Bain, who you just heard from and was at that adjacent construction site, still had the presence of mind to stop and try and find sandbags to help stop that flow of fuel down Broad. And you can see crews at this hour still working to clean all of that up. Seattle's mayor closed 4 different buildings here at the Seattle Center to allow that to happen today, and also to mourn the victims. Live tonight outside Fisher Plaza, Chris Daniels, King 5 News.
Thank you, Chris. The crash site is expected to be closed to traffic until 9 o'clock tonight. No vehicles will be allowed on Broad Street between Denny Way and 5th Avenue North and Thomas Streets near Mercer. This is in front of Como TV and the Seattle Center. We will let you know when those roads reopen. That is one of the busiest areas in the city, and at that time of day, there are workers, tourists, and commuters all over. It happened right in front of many of them. King 5's Gary Chittum spent the morning getting their stories. Gary.
Well, Dennis, you would be hard-pressed to find a busier part of the city right now with all of these busy office buildings here. And then, of course, on just about every corner, you've got construction projects with all those workers. And then right across the street, you have one of the most popular tourist attractions on the West Coast. So there were a lot of eyes on this when it went down.
And then all of a sudden I could see it just nosedive right into the cars.
It was just crashing and it hit the red car and it tilted it at 90 degrees and it broke into several pieces and it burst into flames 2 seconds later.
I ran over there, but it was like already burst into flames, and you could only get within like 20 feet.
Finally, the guy in the red car came out, and he was bleeding. His head was bleeding, and his shirt was a little bit on fire.
There wasn't much anyone could do. Cell phone video captures the early moments of the crash when the streets were still ablaze and the fire and the police crews came in. As they put out the fire, witnesses tried to catch their breath. And reality set in for co-workers of the victims. But they had a story to tell. Their chance to grieve came between live shots and sound bites. It's a story with no ending for them. And it's a disaster they shared with the news community and a busy neighborhood.
It makes you cherish every bit of part of your life that you have. Like I said, it just made me think about my daughter. I'm like, wow, this is
people just driving to work, and next thing you know, a helicopter's landing on you.
Yeah, a lot of people in this neighborhood are feeling it. They've been listening to these helicopters take off and land in this area for a very long time, something they've grown accustomed to, and a lot of them like to look up and watch it take off and land. So obviously it's going to be a hard time for a lot of people around here. Reporting live in Seattle, Gary Chinham, King 5 News.
Thank you, Gary. For the Como crew, it started out as a routine morning. 5:30 a.m., the helicopter took off from its base in Renton. By 6 o'clock, it was over a water main break in Covington. It returned to Como to refuel around 7:40 a.m. Moments later, as the helicopter was taking off for Renton, it crashed. The question is, why? King 5's aviation specialist Glenn Farley is live at the scene tonight. Glenn, what will officials be looking at, and when might we know the specifics?
That may be a year before we know the specifics. In 5 days, we'll get a preliminary report from the National Transportation Safety Board, but that's really going to be just a sort of a factual recap of what we know to that point. The real answer's a long way off, but there are some tantalizing details. The helicopter was rotating around in a counterclockwise direction, and then there's that engine whine.
A National Transportation Safety Board investigator looks into the hollow emptiness of the tail boom, because somewhere in the wreckage, somewhere in some cell phone or security camera video, there are pieces that will add up to an answer.
Witness described as the helicopter lifted off from the building and began to rotate counterclockwise and subsequently crash.
Bo Bain is one of those witnesses, used to the sound of helicopters landing and taking off, but this time it was different.
You could definitely hear there was something wrong. Something sounded different with the helicopter. That's what made me look at it in the first place.
The aircraft is a Eurocopter A-Star 350, assembled in Texas in 2003, a company now known as Airbus Helicopter. The aircraft is owned by Helicopters Incorporated, commonly called Heli Inc., one of the largest companies that leases media helicopters in the U.S. And this particular aircraft has been used in other cities, including Boston. The aircraft's history, just one thing investigators will study.
Right now, the maintenance records are en route to us. We should receive those this evening. The operator of the helicopter keeps those records on the East Coast. They're being flown out at this time.
Everything will be looked at, from any influence construction cranes had in the area to the weather to the pilot's experience and training. And every little piece could hold an important clue.
Now that noise that you're hearing is actually a Vector truck. They are actually trying to clean off the street there because it has been so badly burned by the jet fuel that burned here for so long earlier this morning, less than 12 hours ago. So the NTSB's process is this. It's a process of elimination. They'll go through the boxes. Was it the weather? Probably not. Air traffic control, obviously not involved. Can they find out anything in the maintenance records? Heli Inc. has a good reputation. They may check that off. So we'll see where this goes, but it may take quite a while. Live in downtown Seattle, Glenn Farley, King 5 News.
Thank you, Glenn. We here at King 5 have a new sharing agreement with Como on the use of the chopper. We share the cost of the helicopter and video service provided by the independent contractor Helicopter Incorporated. All of us here at King would like to express our condolences. We may be competitors, but we work next to each other, covering our community. And at the end of the day, we are all colleagues in this together. King 5's General Manager Ray Heacock said today, words cannot express the sympathy and sadness we feel for the victims who lost their lives in today's tragedy and for their families. We grieve this afternoon with the entire Seattle community, and our thoughts are with all those affected. Helicopters, Inc. also released this statement this afternoon. On behalf of the Helicopters, Inc. family, I would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the families of those lost and injured in Seattle today. We mourn their loss and suffering, and our thoughts and prayers are with them.
Many of the tourist attractions in the Seattle Center were closed today out of respect for those killed in this morning's crash. The closure includes the Space Needle, monorail, and the EMP. The closure is understandable since the crash site is near the Seattle tourist attraction. Again, those attractions will remain closed for the rest of the day.
Witnesses saw one of the survivors pull himself from the wreckage while he was on fire.
He suffered serious burns and is now at Harborview Medical Center. King 5's Alyssa Hahn joining us now live with the latest on his injuries and treatment. Alyssa?
Lori, doctors upgraded 38-year-old Richard Newman of Seattle to serious condition this afternoon. He was that person who caught on fire when the helicopter came crashing down, and he was rushed here to Harborview. We're told he suffered burns to 20% of his body, mostly to his lower back and the back of one of his arms. The burns are 2nd to 3rd degree and will likely require surgery. He also suffered a broken rib and some cuts to his head. The spokesperson here at Harborview talked to us today about how the news on his condition improved throughout the day.
He came in critical. We didn't know for sure how deep the burns were, how much of his body was covered, and I think the good news is, you know, he's got less of his body burned. He's young. He's in a good place. He's at the Level 1 Burn and Trauma Center for 4 states that does this and has the volumes to do this and has really good outcomes. So he's in a really good place. A lot of good support from the family, and I think a lot of support from the community about what's happened to him.
Newman's family is here at Harborview. They are from the Bellingham area. We're told that his partner is here with him as well. Harborview says their priority is to keep these wounds clean, to make sure he has enough fluids, and at some point in the days coming forward, they'll make a decision about surgery. Reporting live at Harborview, Alyssa Hahn, King 5 News.
Thank you, Alyssa. Governor Jay Inslee released a written statement offering his condolences to the KOMO TV staff, saying despite the personal impacts of this tragedy, the KOMO staff have been reporting on this loss with impressive professionalism and grace. Our hearts go out to you. The governor says he hopes for the best for those who were injured.
Among the 2 men killed, a photojournalist who left his mark on Seattle and on KOMO TV. A master of his craft, storytelling was what he loved to do. It's what he was doing this morning. From the passenger seat of the news helicopter, King 5's Meg Coyle joins us now with more on the life of Bill Strothman.
Yeah, Dennis, Bill Strothman was so kind. That's the one word people have used over and over today that we've talked to describe him. He spent 28 years at KOMO, and even though he had technically retired, he was still working part-time as the eyes of Air 4. He was well loved by those who knew him, well respected by those who worked with him.
When the news broke and the fiery pictures showed up on her screen.
And I knew Bill worked the morning shift. And
so April Zepeda texted him and called him.
Just switched right over, you know, where it doesn't ring. And I called his house, and it just started beginning to feel really dark really fast. I had a bad idea.
She would soon learn her longtime friend, co-worker, confidant, photojournalist Bill Strothman was gone. A man who had spent his career covering the news had become the news.
It leaves such a hole in my heart, and but it doesn't even compare, I know, to what his family's going through.
April worked with Bill for 11 years at KOMO, 4 of those in their North Bureau.
When I picture him in my mind, it's always like this, with the camera on his shoulder. And
to say he was good at his job would be an understatement. He was incredible. So accomplished was Bill that he won 13 Emmys. He was KOMO's chief photographer, where he was also named National Press Photographers Association's Regional Photographer of the Year. So impressive and inspiring to other photojournalists.
Okay.
We turned the camera on one of our own.
He used his talent as a photographer, plus his ability to listen, to get people to be comfortable and tell great stories.
King 5 photojournalist Eric Wold has known Strothman for 20 years, often covering the same stories.
I missed him when he left the North Bureau, when he retired from shooting day-to-day news, and I'll miss him even more now.
This is an Emmy that I won with Bill because of his great shooting.
Yet despite all the awards and accolades,
that he had such an amazing skill and a great eye, but he was an even better man.
A family man That was the job he lived for.
I'm positive he was thinking of Nora, Heidi, and Dan in those final moments. I just know it. I know it.
And son Dan followed in his dad's footsteps. He now works as a photographer at Como. Bill Strothman is also survived by his wife Nora and daughter Heidi. Coming up at 7 o'clock, we will hear from Bill's family as they mourn a man who was the center of their universe. Lori.
Thank you, Meg. The pilot at the controls this morning was also a longtime Boeing employee. Gary Fitzner worked at the development center in Tukwila and in his spare time flew helicopters and gave flying lessons. King 5's Rob Piercy is live in Renton tonight with reaction from a close friend.
Lori, we are across the airfield from where Fitzner would fly out in the mornings that he was piloting. Everyone around here was too shaken up by what happened to talk, but we did talk with a very close friend from Boeing who told me we lost a good one today.
He was just a hell of a nice guy, hell of a good guy.
Having a conversation he never could have imagined before today, Don Anderson tried to find the words.
Yeah, you always think you're strong, but somehow or another it didn't work.
For more than 20 years, he worked with Gary Fitzner at Boeing. Don, an engineer, Gary, a technician.
So if you want to get something done, you go to the technicians. You know, you don't go to another engineer. You're not going to get anything done there.
They traveled the world together for work. Spain, Germany, France. They always found time to explore during their trips.
Gary was just great to be with. He was, happy. He wanted to do stuff.
Most of all, he says, Gary loved to fly, and he was good at it, too.
Taking classes about what might happen if you're going to have an incident in a helicopter.
It's why Don couldn't believe it this morning when the emails and phone calls came flooding in. Gary's helicopter had crashed. He called Gary's wife.
She said, yes, the rumor's true. I don't know what to do.
While the circumstances of what happened are sorted out, Don says one thing is clear.
If he was checking anything and thought there's a problem, I don't think he'd even fly it.
A skilled pilot and Boeing technician, and most importantly to Don, a friend.
It was just fun to be with him, to be at his place and to do things with him. And you don't have that opportunity anymore. It's gone.
Fitzner's family released a statement today saying that he planned to retire from Boeing soon, but he did have plans to continue flying. Coming up tonight on King 5 News at 7, you'll see how Don Anderson plans to memorialize his friend. Live tonight in Renton, Ron Piercy, King 5 News.
Thank you, Rob. Back in 2005, an Airlift Northwest helicopter crashed while taking off from the roof of a hospital in Olympia. The pilot walked away without injury. Moments before the accident, the pilot received a low rotor audio warning, meaning the blades were not turning fast enough.
7 years ago, 2 television helicopters crashed in Phoenix, killing 4 people. The mid-air crash happened while 5 Phoenix television news helicopters were covering a police chase. The KTVK and KNXV helicopters collided and crash-landed in a park. Both sets of pilots and photographers died in that crash. Both the Federal Aviation Administration and National Transportation Safety Board stated the probable cause of the crash, both pilots' failure to see and avoid the other helicopter.
We will continue to track this story all evening long, including more live reports in our next half hour. And for updates anytime, go to our website, king5.com.
Part of that continuing coverage comes in our next half hour. Because of this crash, could the city change its policies on landing pads in Seattle?
Plus, he was a fixture at King 5 for many years. Remembering Jim Compton, coming up.
6 years and done. The man who runs the state ferry says he's through. More on the surprise announcement next.
Clouds are rolling in throughout western Washington. We'll see how soon the rain will follow and how long it's going to stick around. I forecast just a couple of minutes from now.
And tonight we'll be sharing condolence messages that are pouring in about today's helicopter tragedy. King 5 News returns after this. A shocker in the state's transportation system today. The director of the state ferry system abruptly resigned after 6 years on the job.
King 5 investigator Susanna Frame broke this story today, and she joins us with the latest.
Lori and Dennis, even the top ferry brass were blown away today when their boss, David Mosley, announced he's calling it quits. Mosley says it was his decision alone to leave the system's top post and that he was not forced out. He says one of his greatest accomplishments was getting more boats built for the fleet. Mosley found himself in the spotlight more than any ferry director before him because of the King 5 investigation, Waste on the Water. Our 2010 series exposed millions of wasted tax dollars at the state ferries and employees gaming the system to boost their salaries. Mosley says he loved the job, but won't miss it.
I think I have chosen the right time. You know, I've loved every moment of it. It's been a great ride for 6 years. I'm ready to go.
Mosley says he's not retiring, but he doesn't know what the next chapter of his professional life will be. The Secretary of Transportation is in charge of getting a replacement on board. She says they will launch a national search to do that. And I have to say, I've interviewed David Mosley so many times. Usually, well, never a happy story on his end, right? A lot of tough questions in interviews, but he was always a gentleman, always answered the questions, and always said yes to an interview.
All right. Susanna, thank you.
Thanks, Susanna. Now we remember Jim Compton, the former Seattle City Councilman and distinguished journalist. Jim passed away last night from apparent natural causes. He was 72 years old. Jim hosted the Compton Report on King TV in the 1980s and 90s.
The discovery of a skull and a skeleton beside the Columbia River last year has sparked a scientific dispute that could upset all our ideas about who first inhabited the Pacific Northwest.
What a career he had. Jim's work at King earned him a dozen Regional Emmy Awards and a Columbia DuPont Award. He began his career as a radio news reporter in Portland before joining King TV in the 1960s. He later worked as a foreign correspondent for NBC News and returned to King in the 80s. Jim served on the Seattle City Council from 1999 to 2006.
Ukraine's new government says Russian President Vladimir Putin is a threat to the whole world. Today, Putin signed a treaty which annexes Ukraine's Crimea region into Russia. Russians in Red Square cheered the annexation, and Putin, who's now claiming Crimea has always been a part of Russia. U.S. and European officials are speaking out about it. While visiting Poland today, Vice President Joe Biden promised there would be more sanctions against Russia. Biden says the U.S. is committed to defending its allies. Poland shares a border with Russia.
Amtrak and North Line Sounder service have remained down between Seattle and Everett because of recent landslides. Alternate transportation with chartered buses is being provided between Seattle and Everett and will cover all missed stops. The tracks are expected to reopen on Thursday.
The clouds have moved in. Will rain come along with them? Jeff Redder's forecast is next.
And as we continue our coverage of today's helicopter crash, we'll take a look at the company that leased the news chopper to Como and to King. That's new at 5:30.
I guess you could call this a typical spring day.
We're almost to spring.
It's
Greg?
still winter. It's still winter, though
yes,
we're
it is.
closing in on spring rapidly. Still, I think the skies today probably mirrored the mood of many of us today. Lots of gray skies hanging over much of western Washington, but only producing a little bit of rain. If we go to time-lapse on radar, you'll see some of that pushing through the Strait of Juan de Fuca. If we zoom in a little bit tighter, you'll see some light to moderate showers approaching the Port Angeles Squim area. And I know Squim, it never rains in your city, but radar does suggest otherwise this time. Rainfall amounts heaviest out along the coast as expected, 44/100ths of an inch of rain at Oahu. Pacific Beach, 17/100ths of an inch of rain, and over the Puget Sound area. Best chance of getting some measurable rain is expected. Generally Everett northward, and 8/100ths of an inch of rain fell at James Monroe Elementary. At SeaTac, only trace amounts. Today's high 50, below the average high of 54. And the low this morning, 39 degrees. This view from our Seattle Tower Campfront on the waterfront. Current temperature, 50 degrees, northerly winds at 2. Barometric pressure beginning to diminish. And that's a suggestion a system's going to move in. The rain that we've had last night and today decreasing tree pollen down to just very low levels. Grass and weed pollen, as we've mentioned before, we're not in that season yet. Up in the mountain passes, looks bare and dry at Snoqualmie. And in fact, State DOT says there are a few wet spots, but that's about it. Largely the same at Stevens and White Pass, though there are a few icy patches at Stevens. Do take an eye. Take it easy. Satellite pictures, you see the increasing band of clouds. Warm front approaching the north end of Vancouver Island, not generating a lot of rain. But as the cold front extending from that and from this low sweeps in, mainly tomorrow morning, that's when we're going to see increasing rain. Get a sense of that if we take a look at accumulated rainfall. Not much tonight or tomorrow except from Everett northward, but by 10:30, certainly spreading into the Puget Sound area, changing to showers with a slight chance of thunder showers in the afternoon. Overnight lows tonight, mildest near the Sound, low to mid-40s. Very similar northwest of Everett, upper 30s to low 40s elsewhere. Now daytime highs tomorrow, upper 40s to around 50. Chance of ice pellet or thunder showers from Arlington down to Marysville and possibly down to about Linwood, but also some afternoon sunbreaks. Central and South Sound, mid-40s to around 50. The coolest temperatures along or near the Cascade foothills. Upper 40s to around 50 along the ocean beaches. Winds getting strong in the afternoon, moderate over the Puget Sound area, 10 to 25, 20 to 40 through the Strait. East of the Cascades, either rain or a mix of rain and snow from Wenatchee to Omak and Spokane. Mountain passes, probably 2 to 6 inches, especially the higher passes. Showers and sunbreaks Thursday, slight chance of an ice pellet shower, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday look dry, partly sunny, warming up. Monday could hit 60. Too bad we couldn't slide that back into the weekend. But overall, an improving trend after tomorrow.
Okay, Jeff, thanks.
Coming up next on King 5 News at 5, continuing coverage of the crash of the Como News helicopter near the Space Needle.
I'm Linda Brill, live in Seattle. How many helicopters are flying around the city? Where did they take off? Where did they land? We have the story coming up.
And what, if anything, can federal investigators tell us about what happened? A timeline for answers when we return. Community, of course, responding with an outpouring of sympathy. That's Roger and Cindy Quering leaving flowers outside the Como TV studios. Cindy's message that they're thinking about the families and the people who work at the station, and they are sorry for their loss.
After the crash, the mayor said the city will review its policy on helicopter landing pads in Seattle. There are nearly a dozen heliports in the city. King 5's Linda Brill is live and got one on top of our building with the story. Linda.
Well, Dennis, we're on the roof now of the Dexter Avenue North King TV building, and this is Sky King's helipad, and it's been in operation for decades. But if you look to the west, about a third of a mile as the crow flies, that's where you'll see Como's helipad, and then just a few blocks from that is Cairo's helipad, all of them very close to the Space Needle. And now the mayor wants to take a look at those downtown helipads for a review. You may have seen Sky King take off and land on the King television building. It's just blocks away from the Como helicopter pad. Close to the crowded Seattle Center and the Space Needle, are these helicopter pads too close to Seattle's biggest tourist attractions?
We're going to look at the investigation from the NTSB, and then we will review our own policies based on that investigation and based on just growth and the changes that have happened.
In the 1960s, helipads were built in the city for private use for high-rise executives. In the 1980s, the rules changed. Now, Paul Ellen uses a floating helipad. Currently, helicopters are allowed downtown and in some commercial and industrial zones, but only for medical and media use. Harborview Medical Center has 3. Children's Hospital has 1. Getting a permit for a new helipad in Seattle today would be very difficult.
Now downtown, there's a lot more people living as well as working, and my guess is that the review would be perhaps challenging.
And the mayor says he has no intention at this point of closing down any of the helipads in Seattle until the investigation is over and his review is complete. In Seattle, Linda Brill, King 5 News.